Dear finance professionals and students, welcome to podcast of FCA Deepak Rao, a practicing chartered accountant. Weekly digest for week 5 of July 2025. Knowledge Reality Trust backed by Sattva Group and Blackstone has secured SEBI approval for its Rs 4,800 crore REIT public offering, aiming to monetize 30 prime office assets. Scheduled to hit capital markets in early August, Knowledge Reality Trust is poised to become India's largest REIT with a gross asset value of approximately Rs 62,000 crore. Samsung's smartphone exports from India witnessed a nearly 20% year-on-year decline in the first quarter of financial year 26, potentially due to the expiration of production-linked incentive or PLI scheme benefits. Without these incentives, Samsung along with Apple and Dixon Technologies may struggle to maintain export competitiveness. Between July 21st and 26th, 22 startups raised $134.4 million, marking a 69% uptick from the $79.7 million raised by 21 startups in the preceding week. Unicorn India Ventures was the most active investor this week, backing semiconductor startup Netrasemi and AI startup Cluis.ai. Both enterprise tech and e-commerce sectors witnessed the 5 funding deals materialize this week. The Income Tax Department has released an updated version 1.1 of its Excel-based ITR3 utility on July 24, 2025, aimed at providing a smoother and more accurate return filing experience for assessment year 2025-26. The ITR3 form is applicable to individuals and Hindu undivided families who have income from business or profession, including income from proprietary business, professionals and partnership firms, excluding LLPs. Leveraging the just concluded historic India-UK trade deal, Zero Watt Energy, incubated by the IIT Madras Incubation Cell, is expanding operations into the UK, backed by an investment of Rs 116 crore or $10 million. Nurtured by the Kerala Startup Mission, Zero Watt has developed revolutionary IoT and AI-driven technology designed to unlock the full potential of energy efficiency, significantly reducing energy costs and carbon footprints in industrial facilities. Despite India's growing private credit market, major global investors like Temasek and pension funds remain cautious due to small average deal sizes between $200 to $300 million, complex debt resolution processes under the IBC framework, and reduced dollar-denominated returns after factoring in forex and hedging costs. Even if a deal offers 18 to 19% returns in rupee terms, post-forex and hedging costs shave off about 5%, reducing dollar returns to around 12 to 13%. Jane Street Group is contesting market manipulation allegations in India, claiming its controversial options trades responded to high retail investor demand. The firm argues it facilitated options bets, hedging less to minimize market impact. While SEBI scrutinizes Jane Street's activity, the case tests India's regulatory framework amid growing global trading complexities. The Central Board of Direct Taxes provides relief to taxpayers. It extends the deadline for processing certain electronically filed income tax returns. These returns were incorrectly invalidated due to technical issues. Taxpayers who filed returns by March 31, 2024 will benefit. The new deadline for processing is March 31, 2026. This move ensures eligible taxpayers receive refunds with interest. Amber Group is set to acquire a 40.24% controlling stake in Unitronics, an Israeli industrial automation firm, for over Rs 400 crore. ILJI and Electronics, Amber's subsidiary, will purchase shares resulting in a combined 45.13% ownership with Unitronics joint chairman. This acquisition aims to leverage ILJIN's manufacturing expertise, boost innovation, and strengthen Unitronics' position in India. The Enforcement Directorate has initiated FEMA proceedings against Myntra Designs Private Limited and its directors for allegedly violating FDI rules worth Rs 1,654 crore. The agency claims Myntra misrepresented its wholesale business model to receive foreign investment with allegedly conducting retail operations through a related entity, Vector E-commerce. India permits 100% FDI in wholesale e-commerce but prohibits foreign-funded marketplaces from direct retail sales. This case follows the scrutiny of other e-commerce players for potential circumvention of the FDI rule. India's economy shows cautious optimism in mid-2025, according to a Finance Ministry report, highlighting resilience despite global headwinds. Forecasts project financial year 26 growth in the 6.2 to 6.5% range, supported by robust domestic demand. However, the report cautions about slowing credit growth and potential risks from a global slowdown, particularly in the US, which could dampen demand for Indian exports. AI-powered mobile app testing platform Driz raised $2.7 million in a seed round, led by Stellaris Venture Partners, with participation from Veda VC and ex-CBO at Cleartrip Anuj Rathi, among others. The company will use the newly raised funds to help advance its Vision AI engine and expand its engineering team as well as strengthen its research capabilities. The company's AI model evaluates apps visually, eliminating the need for locator selectors, manual updates, or separate test suites across devices. Tata Motors is reportedly close to acquiring Italian truck maker Iveco from the Agnelli family for $4.5 billion, potentially the group's second largest acquisition. Expected to be announced soon, the deal involves Tata buying Exor's stake and launching a tender offer for remaining shares, excluding Iveco's defense business. Iveco confirmed advanced talks and its shares surged on the news. National Securities Depository Limited garnered Rs 1,201 crore from anchor investors before its initial public offering. The IPO opens for subscription today. Life Insurance Corporation of India is the largest anchor investor. Other global and domestic institutions also participated. The IPO is entirely an offer for sale. NSDL reported revenue of Rs 1,420 crore in fiscal year 2025. Several private equity firms, including KKR and TPG, are considering acquiring a majority stake in Sensacor Medical Instrumentation. The deal could value the Indian medical device manufacturer at around $300 million. Sensacor is a major producer of in vitro diagnostic analyzers. The medical device sector in India is attracting significant investor interest. Reserve Bank of India sets new rules for investments. These rules limit how much banks and NBFCs can invest in alternative investment funds. A single entity can only contribute up to 10% of an AIF scheme. All regulated entities together cannot exceed 20%. RBI may exempt certain AIFs from these rules after consulting with the government. MNCs which are setting up GCCs or expanding existing facilities are also the top spenders of tech for the $280 billion listed Indian pure play. The increasing insourcing of core tech tasks, especially the top-end high-value work, may be leading to one of reasons for the current rot in the outsourcing industry, marked by a protracted slowdown and now mass layoffs. Decathlon, the French sports retailer, announced plans to significantly increase its sourcing from India to $3 billion by 2030. Driven by the Make in India vision, the expansion will focus on footwear, fitness equipment, and technical textiles. Local sourcing for Indian retail operations is projected to reach 90% by 2030. The combined value of India's leading real estate companies has increased. It now exceeds the GDP of some countries. A recent study shows a 14% annual growth in valuation. Mumbai leads in real estate companies. DLF remains India's most valuable real estate company. The sector experiences renewed investor confidence. Hospitality and co-working spaces are also growing. The Ministry of Electronics and IT has approved 23 chip design projects under the Rs 1,000 crore Design Linked Incentive or DLI scheme, part of the Rs 76,000 crore Semicon India program. The scheme supports startups, MSMEs and academic institutions in chip design with incentives for prototyping and sales. So far, 278 institutions and 72 startups have accessed critical design tools and funding. Tata Motors plans to acquire Iveco Group's commercial vehicle business. The deal is valued at approximately 3.8 billion euros. The acquisition will be through Tata Motors' subsidiary. A tender offer of Euro 4.1 per share will be launched. Iveco's defense unit will be sold separately to Leonardo. The Agnelli family currently controls Iveco Group through Exor. Axis Cadis Technologies has secured defense orders worth approximately Rs 600 crore from Indian defense laboratories including DRDO and BEL. These orders encompass the development and supply of advanced modules and units for radar systems, submarine modifications, and the Kusha project. The projects include prototype development followed by production orders over the next 2 to 5 years, enhancing India's defense capabilities. Former IndusInd Bank CEO Sumant Katpalia has proposed to settle the insider trading case against him with the Securities and Exchange Board of India. He has proposed a Rs 5.21 crore settlement to the regulator. SEBI's settlement mechanism enables individuals accused of regulatory breaches to resolve the issue by paying a settlement fee without having to admit or deny the alleged wrongdoing. Schneider Electric on Wednesday announced signing an agreement to acquire Temasek's remaining 35% stake in their Indian joint venture, Schneider Electric India, for an all-cash consideration of 5.5 billion euros to reach full ownership. The French major expects to further leverage India as an important R&D and supply chain hub, particularly for Asia-Pacific and other emerging markets, and plans to expand its capacity in India by as much as 3 times. A SEBI panel is considering a proposal to allow large companies valued over Rs 1 lakh crore to dilute only 2.5% of the equity in IPOs, issuing shares worth Rs 7,500 crore. This move aims to ease the burden of large public issues and provide exit opportunities for early investors. The proposal, currently under active consideration by a top Securities and Exchange Board of India panel, would allow entities such as the National Stock Exchange and Reliance Jio Infocom, which command multi-billion-dollar valuations, to go public with a smaller float. Securities and Exchange Board of India or SEBI suggested revisions for big initial public offerings. The proposal includes increasing the allocation limit for institutional buyers. It also suggests reducing the share reserved for retail investors. For IPOs exceeding Rs 5,000 crore, retail allocation may decrease to 25%. Institutional buyer allocation may increase to 60%. RBI data reveals a slowdown in bank lending across sectors in June 2025, with services and agriculture experiencing a more pronounced deceleration compared to retail and industry. Non-food bank credit grew by 10.2%, a significant drop from the previous year's 13.8%. While some industries like engineering and construction saw accelerated growth, Personal loans also experienced moderation. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, or ICAI, has announced that it will initiate strict penal action against chartered accountants who breach its newly notified tax audit limit guidelines set to take effect from April 1st, 2026. The move is aimed at ensuring fair audit distribution among partners and maintaining the integrity of the profession. In a notification issued on Tuesday, the ICAI clarified that each partner in an accounting firm will be allowed to undertake a maximum of 60 tax audits annually. While the 60 audit cap has long applied to individual practitioners, partnership firms previously operated under a combined limit, often leading to senior partners absorbing quotas of junior ones' practice now under scrutiny. India's leading car maker Maruti Suzuki has amended its Memorandum of Association to enter diverse, future-focused sectors like vehicle leasing, subscription services, EV charging infrastructure, used car sales, carbon credit trading, and vehicle recycling. The move represents a strategic evolution for Maruti Suzuki as it seeks to broaden its focus beyond traditional automobile manufacturing and position itself for long-term growth in an industry undergoing rapid transformation. Indian commercial vehicle market leader Tata Motors plans to raise close to 1 billion euros through equity, either a rights issue or qualified institutional placement, as well as monetize its stake in Tata Capital to help repay the 3.8 billion euro bridge loan it will use to buy Italy's legacy CV player Iveco Group. The government anticipates that beneficiaries of the PLI Auto scheme will meet targets and utilize all funds by the fourth year, ahead of schedule. Several major auto companies, including Tata Motors and Mahindra & Mahindra, have already submitted claims. While automakers are progressing well, concerns remain regarding auto component manufacturers meeting the scheme's objectives. The Income Tax Department is facing resistance from Jane Street during verification proceedings, as the firm allegedly refuses access to offshore servers and data. This lack of cooperation led to a survey at Nuvama Wealth Management, Jane Street's trading partner. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, through its Direct Tax Committee, has released the revised guidance note on tax audit under Section 44AB for the year 2025. This updated version comes as a critical resource for professionals conducting tax audits, especially in the context of continuous legislative changes. The 2025 edition of the Guidance Note comprehensively incorporates amendments introduced by the Finance No. 2 Act 2024 and the Finance Act 2025. The revised Guidance Note offers not just legal analysis but also practical insights, illustrations, and explanations to assist chartered accountants in performing tax audits efficiently. SEBI has proposed to include debt securities or non-convertible redeemable preference shares carrying zero interest or dividend as eligible securities for issuance at a reduced face value. This proposal shall facilitate the issuers to issue such debt securities or non-convertible redeemable preference shares that carry zero interest or dividend at a face value of Rs 10,000. Public comments on the draft circular may be submitted by August 21, 2025. SEBI has proposed to expand the definition of strategic investor under REITs and InvITs regulations to include qualified institutional buyers and certain categories of foreign portfolio investors. Accordingly, an entity that is considered a QIB under the ICDR regulations may apply as a strategic investor. This move aims to improve the ease of capital raising for infrastructure and real estate trusts. Public comments may be submitted by August 22, 2025. The Institute of Company Secretaries of India, or ICSI, has reiterated its demand for the recognition of its members as accountants under the Indian tax laws and called on the government to initiate a comprehensive overhaul of the country's taxation framework. The renewed plea comes after the Parliamentary Select Committee on the Income Tax Bill 2025 declined to accept ICSI's proposal to include company secretaries within the definition of accountant.
This podcast is sponsored by Sound of CA. We share because we care. Vande Mataram, Jai Hind.